Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans.
Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by.
Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Thursday edition of the JP Peterson Show. And I'm jacked up, a little sleep deprived, but I am ready to go. I'm ready to rock. Tim Ham joining us from our Dallas affiliates, FanStream Sports DFW. I'm sorry you were not at last night's festivities at the Tampa Sports Club. Higgins Hall of Fame. What a night, my friend. What a night. Dickie V, I believe, is still talking. I believe he's still going.
Well, he saved his voice that whole time. So
He did. Yes, he did. And what a crazy, magical night. We're going to get into that of last night. Big win for the Rays right across the street from where we were. The Rays were beating your Rangers 5-4. Once again, winning the series. That's 6 series in a row at Steinbrenner Field. They have not lost. 5-0-1. How about that?
That makes the Rangers 9-20 on the road this year.
Okay, good. They suck.
That's not good.
Go for a little sweep today. That would be nice. Michael Kelly was there last night at the event, moving on from USF to take on the Navy job. Spoke with him for a little bit last night, and everybody very sad that he's leaving, but very happy of where he's going, moving on to Navy, where his dad graduated from as a midshipman there in 1967. So kind of a mythical return for Michael Kelly, but that leaves a huge hole at USF. So we'll talk a little bit about who might be replacing him as the new athletic director. A critical, and I do mean critical hire, the most important time really in USF athletics history. That's not even debatable. A critical time in the growth of not only USF athletics, but college athletics as well. So it'll be very interesting to see where this list goes. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Scott Reynolds is going to join us from the Pewter Report. He's been out at OTAs this week, so we'll get some thoughts from him on what he saw out there on the practice field. Mandatory OTAs coming up next week, so we'll get into that a little bit. Hockey game last night was outstanding. Overtime in game 1 of the finals, and the right team won.
Good guys win. Yep.
Good guys win. That's good as well. And Chris Lotful is going to join us, Pinellas County Commissioner. The news is out. Manfred said he expects the Trop to be fixed by the beginning of the season next year. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see some panels going up on the roof. Yeah. But evidently that's the plan. I think actually there's a vote today on fixing the Trop. So looks like Stu Sternberg's going to make them fix it, and they're going to play there for another 3 years while they figure out what's going on in Tampa. Talked to a couple folks last night about that. Things are very mum, but things are also being done behind the scenes. I think Manfred at the owners' meetings yesterday reiterated his commitment and expectation that the Rays are going to remain in Tampa Bay, because he knows what I know, and Ken Rosenthal has reported, Jeff hasn't at all, that we've all reported, and the mayor confirmed last week, Mayor Castor confirmed last week that there are new owners, prospective owners in Tampa. So despite all the noise that's happening in Orlando, what's really going on is behind the scenes here in Tampa, and hopefully it'll get done sooner than later.
There's always noise coming out of Orlando that we don't understand.
It's a theme park. The whole damn place is a theme park.
It's a big Mickey Mouse operation.
A bunch of cackling and screaming going on over there. Nothing really happening, but they're making noise. But we love them. They're our brothers. They're our brothers over there, just because they're trying to steal our team. And I really think they're more positioning themselves for expansion.
Right.
If the Rays were to move somewhere else, which that's not happening. I think it's a huge waste of time, but
it's their time.
If you got nothing else to do.
Yeah, it's their time.
Go for it. So anyway, I want to start with last night's festivities at the Sports Club of Tampa Bay. I was lucky enough to MC this. Now that I'm on the board of directors, they can't even get rid of me. They can't fire me. As I said in my opening, I'm like, yes, I work for Channel 8. They're here. I've worked for the Bucs Radio Network. They're here. I've worked for 620. I didn't see them there last night. Well, yeah, it's like everybody in the room has fired me, except the Lightning. Thank you. And Eric Neander is here, the exquisite judge of talent, which is why he's never hired me.
Right.
But actually, I did do a race pregame show for a couple of years as well. So that's 620. So, yes, I'm like Coach Sayo. You can't get rid of me. And he's been there for 35 years. He went in last night. One of the highlights I thought last night was, and one of the great things about it is we always mix high school folks. Terry Rupp and Dominic Sayo went in last night. Terry Rupp was one of the great two-sport athletes in the history of Tampa Bay. He was a great story we got last night. He broke his hand. He was a McDonald's All-American basketball player in high school and baseball player. And he broke his hand in the middle of the season. And the team just went right in the tank. They were like one of the leading teams, Jesuit teams in the state, 3A, and they lost like 10 in a row. And he got so pissed off that he went into went into the garage and took a hacksaw to his cast and took it off himself and went back on the floor and started playing and led them to a state championship. And then many years later, he transitioned to baseball, was actually drafted, and then came back and coached UT to the 1998 national championship. And now is the athletic director at Jesuit, leading them to great things as well. And he's actually been battling some health issues. He had a brain tumor way back in the late 90s, right before he won that national championship. So he's bounced back from a lot of adversity in his life. So that story was told. His father was there to accept it because Terry actually just got out of the ICU. He's doing better. So that was a whole different storyline. And then Dominic Sayo, 35 years as a coach, local high school coach, and the hundreds of kids, I think over 200 kids he sent on to scholarships, D1 scholarships at Jesuit and Berkeley as the coach. Wow. Just an incredible man, and all of his former athletes coming back to tell his stories. And Coop made a little news. He said, you've heard a lot in the press about me leaving. He goes, trust me, I'm not going anywhere. I'm never leaving Tampa Bay. So I'm like, yeah, which was kind of a theme of the night. Yeah. And then, Coop was so good. He's such a humble dude. And, for all of his success, he's such a humble guy. And he pointed to every other inductee and a lot of folks that were there that you may not even know their names. And he thanked them, including his wife. He called his rock that has been with him from, Lansing, where he literally has won championships. If you don't know his story, it's incredible. He became a public defender. And how he became a public defender was interesting. He went to law school, right? Gets out of law school, can't find a job. So he's playing, hockey, beer league hockey locally. And one of the local judges says, hey, would you like to coach my son's high school hockey team? And he's like, sure. Yeah, I'll do that. That was his first coaching job. He goes, sure. He goes, you do me a favor? Can you move my resume to the top of the stack of public defender in your office and get me a job? He's like, deal. I'm like, wow. So Coop had to bribe a judge to get his first job in hockey and as a public defender. That's awesome. And who was what was he? We had two bribes that were revealed last night. So Michigan revealed. Dave Michigan also went in, but Lightning play-by-play guy. So he reveals that Bob Hartley, who was his, he was the head coach at his first, I guess in Hershey, and where he was the play-by-play guy in the minor leagues. And then he went up and won the championship with the Avalanche and won Stanley Cup. So he had Bob Hartley send a recommendation to Jay Feaster at the time. And I forget who else was the general manager was at the Lightning at the time that actually made the hire. And Hartley said, Mitch is so good that I will guarantee his first year's salary if you don't like him. So we had to get Hartley to bribe the Lightning to hire him. So evidently what we learned last night is bribing is a good thing. And it can open doors.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
And I say that in the most lighthearted way because look, both of those gentlemen clearly showed that they had the mettle for the job. Yeah. But it also shows you got to hustle, and it's about relationships. I mean, the bribes, they're not bribes. What they are is great recommendations, right?
Yeah.
And there's relationships and building relationships with people, even in the beginning of your careers, is what it's all about, because it comes back later on in life to help you out. So, and these men have all shown that being kind to everyone pays off in the long run. And it costs, as Coop said last night, it costs zero to be kind. Costs zero to be kind. And you should be that way with everyone every day, unless they really piss you off. So, I mean, so many great stories were had last night. But Rob Higgins told a great story about Coop. And what my point about Coop was, he just, in a very genuine way, thanked everybody else in the room for their help and their support. And it was just, you see a superstar like Coop do that in that way. It's really, and it just kind of encapsulated the whole night of what we are in Tampa Bay. We're nobody wants to be a superstar here. Nobody wants to stand out. Nobody's trying to grab the spotlight. There's no divas in this town. Mike Evans he's no diva.
He's not a
Baker
diva.
Mayfield. No, we don't do divas here. We don't do divas. And it's a lot of blue collar, hardworking people that are always trying to help somebody else. Always trying to help. The Yankees helping the Rays helping. It's just, and that's the feeling that was in the room. That's what we are in Tampa Bay. Really, is a whole lot of grinders, just trying to get it done and helping out each other wherever we can. And it's a great culture in this town. And I don't think there's an event that we have in this town that encapsulates that culture more than the Sports Club of Tampa Bay banquet that we had last night in the Hall of Fame, because we recognize Tony Dungy. You want to talk about another selfless human being who's all about helping others and helping others up. It's who we are. It's what we are. It's built into our culture. And again, I don't think there's a better example of that than the nights that we have each, one time a year at this Tampa Sports Club banquet. And it was magical. There's going to be an edited version of it distributed early next week. So I'll get that out on social media if you want to see it, see all the great speeches. And of course, Dickie Vitale wraps up the night with just an incredibly emotional speech. I've got the video. I'm going to try to put a little video up a little bit later on in the show of, him, I had to help him up to the stage. He's beaten cancer 4 times in the last 5 years. 4 times in the last 5 years. As many times as the Bucs have beaten the Eagles, as I said. So, and it's just, he's just such a great speaker, and it's so emotional, and the great stories that he tells. The ultimate underdog, the ultimate guy of, picking people up and helping them along the way. And stories were told about how, Dick has never said no to anybody about anything. He just will help out anybody. When I was my first year as an anchor in Tallahassee, I'm just some snot-nosed 22-year-old, and Dick Vitale is in town. This is got to be 1988, 89 or something. FSU's playing North Carolina. It's a huge game, and Dick Vitale's in town. And I'm like, hey, Dick, will you come over? I got a bunch of students that are going to do a Dick Vitale sound-alike contest live on my sportscast. No. Yeah, I thought that was just a wonderful idea at the time. And I can only imagine what he thought about it. But you know what he said?
That's funny.
He said yes.
Oh, sure.
And the kids came through, about 3 or 4 of them, and he just starts laughing, and we're all laughing and yucking it up. And then he did an interview with me and it was just, and Joey Johnson told a story about Dick Vitale. They had this great idea when the Final Four was here, that Dick Vitale, somebody said, or Joey came up with the idea, how about if we put him in a Cinderella dress? Cinderella's fine, the tournament, March Madness. And Joey's like, oh, that's a great idea. And then he had to ask him. So he told this story about how they went to lunch, and he was just sweating bullets, just having to wait. And he goes, and before they finished, he goes, well, Dick, I just have one more thing to ask you. We're doing a special section, and we need, a picture on the front of it. And we were hoping that you would dress up in a Cinderella dress. And he goes, sure. If it's to promote college basketball in the hometown and for a friend, if I could do that for you, yes. So, and it's just the guy never says no. And he stayed there last night He and Evan Longoria, all the guys, all the inductees stayed at late, and there was a line. I mean, just people hanging out, trying to get a picture with Longo, trying to get a picture with Vitale, Rob Big, the whole group, Coop and everybody, and they stayed, man. They stayed to the last guy. I left. I was like, I can't stay any longer. I got to go home. I'm exhausted. I left before they did, but they were still talking to people and taking pictures. So it was a really, really cool night. And all I can say is don't miss next year, because we've already got a preliminary list of who we're putting in next year.
Oh, wow.
And this class was insanely good. Next year's, if they could pull it off, is going to be insanely good as well.
Wow.
So go to sportsclubsoftampabay.org, become a member. It costs you $100. We have great, we have meetings every month where we have great speakers come in. We're having a pickleball tournament coming up. We have a golf tournament, all kinds of different socials and mixers. So if you want to rub elbows with the who's who in sports in local Tampa Bay, this is the club for you. We're really trying to expand the club. For a long time, we were just kind of happy doing our thing, but now we're busting out, and we want people to really become part of it. So
that's awesome.
Jump on board and become something special, because we raise money for the Boys and Girls Clubs, and more than that, it's to keep this culture going. Keep this, blue collar, no divas, just wonderful, wonderful folks that just love being part of a collective, not standing out, but just being part of a collective, and a great collective we are. And I say it all the time, no offense to you folks in Dallas, but I don't know if there's a better community to live in than Tampa Bay, because of the sports that we have, the people that are here, the traditions, the weather. It's awesome. It's just
no one in Dallas will be offended by that. No one here thinks this is the greatest place to live. It's good, but it ain't Tampa. I mean, I've been to Tampa, so it's
just we're just a little, and I hope it never changes. And incrementally, it kind of is. Yeah. We're getting way too big for my britches, to be quite honest. Y'all can stop coming now. For years we're like, we're great, come to Tampa. Oh, now we're like, we're good.
Okay, you can stay home now.
Try Orlando. They're growing too.
They want you there, So.
I know. You can take the overflow, but don't take our race. So I'm not worried about that. But you can take the rest of the people, and they're doing a hell of a job of that. Because I'll tell you, when you drive I-4 and up 429, it used to be just cow pastures, and now it's nothing but developments. It's just nothing but either homes, new homes, or land being cleared for new homes. And so it's good. Y'all go live over there. Come visit, because we're getting way too crowded. But they're not stopping building condos and apartments and everything else in Tampa Bay. So I don't think it's going to stop growing. So, all right, let's get to some of the other stuff from yesterday. The Rays win 5-4. They have now won 11 of their last 14. As I said, 6 series in a row, unbeaten, 5-0-1. Shea Baz was really good last night to start off, but it was Brandon Lau got it going with a home run last night, had a double, 3 hits on the night. The key play of the whole game was in the 4th inning when the Rays scored 4 runs, and Kumar Rocker, that guy's huge, by the way.
One of our, where he's from, right? I mean, where he went to school, right?
Yeah, he's John Rocker's son, right?
No,
Kumar?
No. I don't know that John Rocker would ever have a son named Kumar.
Thank you very much. I thought you'd like that.
That was great. We had John Rocker here for a little while, but trust me, he would not have a son named Kumar.
Hey, honey, I got a good name for him. How about Kumar?
Kumar. No, but we got Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter on our pitching staff, the number 1 and 2 pitchers from that Vanderbilt team a few years ago.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We drafted them in consecutive years, and
he's a Vandy kid?
Huh? Yeah.
He's a Vandy. I thought they were smarter than that, because that was one dumb play last night.
Well, and here's the deal. He just came off the 15-day DL. Him and Jack Leiter both have had injury issues since they got here. And apparently, coming off the 15-day DL, not only did he forget how to pitch, he forgot how to field because he forgot to cover first, or he was late covering first, which allowed a hit. And then on the same play, you're not throwing the guy out. So then you allowed a run.
Yeah, if you get the play, put it up there. But if not, he's late getting to first. And, and Meisner, he's fat. That speed creates mistakes, right? Which is the reason we want Chandler Simpson back.
Right.
But so he hits a little dribbler down the right side with what, 2 on? I was 2 on. Anyway, Aranda's on second. And another good night for him, another RBI. The guy just mashing. I think he's leading the league in OPS now. He's on second. So Rocker's late covering first, allowing the hit. And then he just runs by the bag because I guess he's disappointed in himself for not getting the out there.
Yeah.
Well, and Aranda's and he just starts running into the outfield and paying zero attention. Second baseman's like, yo, guy going home, get your head out of your ass.
I'm about to pull it up right now.
Yeah, and Aranda scores, and it's a cutaway of Bruce Bochy in the dugout, and he's like,
"Oh, it was bad, man. God. It was brutal." And not only that, he wasn't pitching great.
Yeah,
and he didn't help himself out. Let's see if we can take a look at it here.
This is just not Major League Baseball.
That's backhanded by Berger. Throw to first. They're not going to get him. Run will score. Yandy crosses the plate, and now another run is going to come home.
Idiot.
Yeah, Aranda. It's like heads up baseball, but if you're not scoring on that play, if you're not paying attention, and because clearly Rocker was not paying attention, but maybe he forgot. I don't know. Who knows? That's just horrible baseball.
Yeah, it's horrible baseball. It's horrible fielding for the pitcher, and he's pitching bad at the same time. So here's the deal with the Rangers. Their offensive struggle. We've talked about it all season long, and before this game, when they score 4 runs or more, they were 21-3. Now they're 21-4 because you can't. Man, I don't know. Kumar, I'm extremely disappointed in both Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter, of course, is Al Leiter's son. Everybody, remembers Al Leiter. Although I like the John Rocker thing better, if that would have been true. But no, man, it's just this team's a mess. This team's where the Rays were a couple months ago, and like I said, the Rangers, by the way, coming off of a season-long 6-game winning streak. Now they're back in the doldrums here. And, you guys as Rays fans, you guys can relate to all of this. You guys have been through this all year. It's an up and down year. And right now the Rangers are very, very down, and they can't do anything right.
Well, we're going to keep them down for one more day.
Yeah, I'm calling for the sweep today, by the way. I'm calling for the sweep.
This Rays team is just really rounding out nicely. And I actually chatted with Eric Neander last night, and he was, he's feeling really good about where they're at right now. I didn't want to challenge him on the Chandler Simpson thing just right away. But look, Chandler's going to be back. It's not like he's not coming back. There's going to be injuries. Right. I just don't, I'll stick by my statement. I don't think they should have sent him down. They got to get rid of Morel. Yeah. Morel's just, he's not doing anything. He's not playing. And when he does play, he's horrible. So I don't know what the plan is there, but it's not hurting the team that much right now. You could say the last 2 losses, they didn't score runs, and I think Morel started at least one of those games. So Chandler Simpson could have certainly helped out in those, 1-run games. Can he manufacture a run? Damn right. So, we've made that argument. It is what it is. He'll be back probably sooner than later. They've got to figure out what to do with Morel. Just get rid of him. Just get rid of him. Again, they're playing well, but they're also not playing the best teams either. Right? The Rangers are struggling, but they figured it out at Steinbrenner Field. And again, if they've got such a overload of pitching right now, and when Zach Littell, he might be the guy to go.
Yeah,
I think he's our highest paid starter, if I'm not mistaken.
We talked about that before. Yeah,
which at like $3.5 million, it's like nothing. But which makes him more valuable to everybody else. And you got Joe Boyle kicking ass in AAA, so he's ready to come up. Shane McClanahan's coming back in July. Shane Baz honestly looks like he could be the best closer in baseball, or maybe setup guy.
Yeah,
he is just but that third time through the lineup gets him. because his slider's not working, but that knuckle curve and the fastball is just electric. He just, he's a strikeout guy. And I think he was a reliever. They stretched him out into a starter, but I think he'd be better off as a reliever. So they've got more arms than they need, right? Yeah. And everybody's going to be looking for starting pitching. So let's go find that big right-handed bat that we need. And
like you said, they're figuring it out at home. They're over 500 now at home, 20-19. Yeah. That was the weak spot, and now you're figuring out how to play at Steinbrenner Field. Your offense is kind of clicking a little bit. Your pitching's come together nicely. It is as it has most of the season today. And again, I'm calling for the sweep. JP, today you got Jack Leiter, 4-2, 3.66 ERA against Pepio, 3-5 with a 3.21 ERA. Leiter doesn't play well on the road. So you know what? I'm calling for the sweep. We'll see. I'll be watching.
A lot of negativity in the comments today.
Rays have allowed 4 runs or fewer in 15 consecutive games. That's one shy of the franchise record set in
How about that? Yeah, everything's falling into place, man. This team is really, really good, but they got to keep at. To me, you can't just be happy with where you're at because the Yankees are going to add, other teams are going to add. Obviously, the Dodgers are going to add. I mean, teams are going to get better. So if you want to win a World Series, you got a really, really cheap pitching staff that's effective right now. Now is the time to go add a little payroll and get a proven slugger who you could put in the middle of your lineup, play outfield, and we got Meisner, we got Mangum. They're playing well right now, but that's not postseason stuff. You got to have guys that can prove it and do it in the postseason. And I think it's a time. It'll be a time to get aggressive at the deadline if they keep playing like this. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to get the comments at some point. But Scott Reynolds is going to join us to talk about Bucs OTAs. So we'll get a little Bucs talk in here. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, jeeveslawgroup.com, JEEVES lawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. They get great results. So if you're in an accident or you have some issues at work or you need any legal questions answered, get a free consultation at jeeveslawgroup.com. They'll be happy to answer your questions. And also, our first hour is brought to you by OnSiteConstructionFL.com, OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Jason Fawcett was in yesterday, and he reminded us, get a relationship with a contractor now. Get your free consultation with them now. They'll come look at your house and say, okay, we could do this, we could do that. Hurricane comes, we could do this, we could help you out here. And if the hurricane does come and you get damage, you're already on the list. You already have it. You're already in the hopper, so to speak. So you'll have a contractor ready to go, somebody you know and somebody you trust. I think that's very important.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's right. Absolutely. Get it done now. Contact them and tell them JP sent you. All right, quick break. Scott Reynolds on the other side. Stay with us. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Get that insurance checkup, get that flood insurance, get that business insurance. Make sure your home insurance is enough. 40% of you folks are not insured enough for your home. You got to get the existing value insured. So if you've not done that in a while, make sure you get it all taken care of. ItalianoInsurance.com. That was something that happened during the hurricane when people went to claim. They were like, oh, you didn't up your insurance to the value of your home. That's increased so much over the past 4 or 5 years. So something you might not think about that they do at Italiano Insurance. So make sure you get that taken care of. All right, let's talk a little Buccaneers football with our good friend Scott Reynolds from the Pewter Report. What's up, Scotty? How are you, my friend?
Doing good, fellas. How are you? Happy Thursday. It's Friday Junior, isn't it? That's what we call Thursday, Friday
Junior. I like that. Yes. The prequin. Is that what they call it? The pre-weekend? The prequin?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
Something like that. Well, you were out there on Tuesday for the media portion of and you know who wasn't there? Me.
That's right. You weren't there.
You know who was there? Wasn't there either? Hassan
Reddick.
And now I'm not getting paid $14 million to play for the Bucs this year.
Right.
So I didn't have to be there. And neither did he. Actually.
Neither did he.
Neither did he.
Yeah.
It was a good deal.
Okay.
It was a good deal. But he wasn't.
Yeah.
And we're not making a big deal out of it. All I said the other day was, if I were him and an opportunity to make like mid-30s in my next contract, I would be doing everything I can to show all the rest of the prospective employers and the one I have right now that I'm committed.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I get it. And you're not wrong. But at the same time, nobody's going to care. No other teams are going to care. The Bucs aren't going to care if this guy puts up somewhere between 8 to 13 sacks this year, right? I mean, that's all that matters is what you do on game days. I was going to say Sundays, but the Bucs play on Thursday and Monday as well. So that's all that really matters. And he's a veteran. It's, once you're 30, it's kind of commonplace. Guys don't show up. I mean, Vitale hasn't participated in OTAs, neither is Levante David, Mike Evans, nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, but they're not learning a new system.
True, but I mean, what does he have to learn? He knows how to rush the passer. He knows how to tackle. He can fill a gap, right?
He has to learn how to drop in coverage. 22 times a game.
I don't think they're doing that right now anyway.
He's done some of that. He's a veteran. Listen, training camp is about 4 weeks long, so he'll have plenty of time to learn those nuances about Todd Bowles' defense, to learn and get that chemistry down with the defensive lineman he'll be stunting with and all that. So I'm not concerned, and neither is Todd Bowles.
Well, that seems to be the talking points, and they're not allowed to be concerned either. So they can't speak. What else did you see out there that caught your eye?
I mean, Servassier Dennis again, man. He's just – I wrote about it on Friday in my SR's Fab 5 column on pewterreport.com because I got some word from some of my sources. It wasn't just Tuesday when he had the interception. This is last Tuesday that he looked good. It was also Wednesday and Thursday. And then we asked Todd Bowles after practice on this Tuesday, who's looked good? And he's like, Servassier Dennis. So it's just, if this guy can stay healthy, I think he's going to have a monster year. And what does that look like for a player like Servassier Dennis, who's not arrived, but he's on the rise? It probably means 100 tackles. It means a handful of takeaways when you factor in interceptions, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries.
That's what we
probably
need.
A handful of sacks. I don't know that this guy is a Levante, David, Hardy, Nickerson, Derek Brooks type. I have no idea. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I do think he can get to that Devin White, Shelton Quarles level. When I say Devin White, I'm thinking, Bucs fans, before you freak out, 2019, 2020 Devin White, not so much the latter Devin White when he was averse to shedding blocks and things like that. But the guy that showed a lot of potential, the guy that actually made a Pro Bowl 1 year. Yeah. And I think that he's that caliber of player. He just was a ball magnet. I mean, God, the guy had 15 sacks at Pittsburgh and 7 as a senior. So he's a playmaker, man. He really is.
Nathan Elliott wants to ask about Cody Mock, Luke Gedeke. Have they been out there? What have you seen of those guys?
Yeah, Luke Gedeke did come back to the OTAs. He might have been dealing with a little bit of a soft tissue injury. He wasn't there. He's working out with trainers during the first Tuesday. He was a full participant in Tuesday's OTA, which was a good sign. Cody Mock, I mean, these guys, honestly, they're Pro Bowl caliber players. They really are. It's just a matter of, are they going to get their due? Like Ali Marpet was a Pro Bowl caliber guard, and he made one Pro Bowl, and that was in 2021 after they won the Super Bowl. So it just, to me, I just hope they get the recognition. And you know what? I know that week 1 game against Atlanta is not on national television. It's a 1:00 game. But if the Buccaneers win that game and then go to Houston on Monday Night Football in week 2 and really ball out, I mean, like if they take it to the Texans, and I think they're capable of doing that, that's a big stage early on that can set the table for a lot of league-wide respect. Because if they win that game, the Buccaneers are 2-0, right? And as I've been told by plenty of general managers over my 30 years of covering this team, week 2 is the most important week in the first part of the schedule. Because if you're 0-1, you have a chance to right the ship. You have a chance to be 1-1. Because the problem is, if you're 0-2, there's that infamous record of, if you start off 0-2, like, your chances of making the playoffs ain't good.
Right.
It's not impossible, but the thing is you need to win 3 straight games at that point in time to get above 500, right? And so even if you win 2 out of 3, you're still below 500. Yeah. Heading into week 6, right? So you're just in catch-up mode for after the first quarter of the season. That's not where you want to be. And week 2 is really important, because if you do win in the first week, now you're 2-0, and you've given yourself a little bit of cushion. You stub your toe in week 3, as this team has done over the last couple of years. You can win the next game. Boom, you're 3-1. That's a hell of a start for quarter 1. I think any team around the league, if you say, can you just automatically pencil us in for 3-1? Forego the chance to get 4-0. Just pencil us in for 3-1. Every single coach in the league would say, give me 3-1 in the first 4 games. So that week 2 game on Monday Night Football, in Houston has a big time meaning, not just for the Buccaneers, but for some of these players individually and their Pro Bowl aspirations.
Scott Reynolds joining us here. Antoine Winfield Jr. has been at just about every OTA, and we all know what a disappointing season he had last year after signing the big deal. It's all injury related, in my opinion. He also spoke with the media. What did you glean from Antoine Winfield about his struggles last year and coming back?
He's just ready to turn the page. He doesn't want to talk about last year. I think it was an aberration. I think it was a bit of a fluke. The injuries did diminish his playmaking ability, right? They just did. He was not at 100% from week 1 on, and kind of like playing catch up mode a little bit himself. It's one thing to like play in week 1 and then miss 4 games, right? And then to kind of get back in the groove and play through a foot injury. I mean, he was well enough to play, but he wasn't at 100% when he entered that lineup against the Saints. And he did have a scoop and score. That was kind of vintage Winfield right there. But it just robbed him of being that special player and having another special season. But if you go back and look, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, those 4 years were who Antoine Winfield Jr. is. Mm-hmm. And he had the blow up year and the contract year. He may never have a season like that again. That's okay. If this guy has 100 tackles, maybe not 3 interceptions, but 2, maybe not 6 sacks, but 3 or 4, maybe not, 6 forced fumbles, but 3, take all of the superlatives and cut them in half, and you'll take that every year. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anthony Walker, one of the newcomers at linebacker. I know he's shown out, and Deion Jones as well. I hear people say all the time the Bucs are thin at inside linebacker. I'm like,
my gosh, yeah.
I don't think so. I think they've got 4 starters at inside linebacker.
I asked Todd Bowles. I said, Todd, heading into training camp, what are your 2 biggest stacked positions on offense and defense? And on defense, really surprised me. I thought he was going to say outside linebacker, because they do have a lot of talent there. It's just a lot of it's young and it's not that proven yet. But I mean, the talent is there at outside linebacker. And I think Larry Foote's going to get it out of him. But he said inside linebacker. He said,
I agree.
We're deep at inside linebacker. And I agree. I mean, if Deion Jones, who's made a Pro Bowl and has started for years and years in this league and is still a very good athlete and is not over the hill yet at age 30, if he is inside linebacker 4 on the depth chart, like that's pretty good. I mean, I think a lot of teams would love to have that caliber of a player as their second backup on the inside linebacker.
Yeah.
And remember, the Bucs play nickel just about every single they're a 2 linebacker team. You're not going to see many, unless it's goal line or short yardage, 3 linebackers in the game. That's just not really Todd Bowles' bag. But Servancier Dennis, Levante David are the starters. Anthony Walker has looked really good, and it's actually been a huge benefit to not have Levante David practice, because Walker's been the starter alongside of Servancier Dennis, so he's really getting schooled up on this Todd Bowles defense. Deion Jones, remember, came here at the midway point of the season, maybe late October, early November on the practice squad. So he's had months to learn this scheme and this defense, and he was a Buccaneer in January and February, right? Anthony Walker wasn't signed till March, so he's still playing catch up a little bit. But these are 2 seasoned guys that Walker reminds me of, and I've kind of been told, think like Kevin Mentor, kind of at the end of his career.
And he was he had to fill in a couple games and play tremendously well.
Yeah, for Devin White, and just a steady Eddie, a guy that's not going to get you beat. May not be the splashiest player, but is going to be assignment sound. He's not going to be a weak link. And he's got experience. And that's something that, quite frankly, KJ Britt and JJ Russell just didn't have enough of last year.
Yeah, I totally agree. And they may be able to use those guys, obviously Levante's getting older, to spell Levante every now and then. Keep him fresh, keep his snap count down a little bit, and also help you on teams as well.
Too, I mean, he's had some problems with, he has hamstring issues before. So, I think you want to see all 4 of these linebackers play. Obviously, you want your starters to play the majority of games, but you know what? The Buccaneers have had some blowouts. That Chargers game last year, the Giants game, the Panthers game here at the end of the season, the Saints game back in week 6. So they've had a handful of blowout games where the fourth quarter, if I'm Todd Bowles, I'm taking Levante and Servassier.
The Ravens game. When you're getting
here we go
out,
again.
Perhaps maybe you could sit some of your starters for a while.
You could do that. You could do that. Yeah. But you know, what
I mean, if you don't want to win the game, then I guess so, JP. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So I hope that there's going to be some opportunities for those types of games again, where Levante and Servassier are just like 3-quarter players, and then you
absolutely
ride those guys. And the thing is if you're Todd Bowles, you trust the veterans, you trust the experience by putting those guys in and knowing that we're not going to give up 17 points in the fourth quarter with them in the game because they're not getting the defense set right, and we're giving up big plays and touchdowns. You know, so I think that's the value of having veterans at linebacker.
Well, the second best podcast you did last week was with Todd Bowles, because we know what the best one was.
Yeah.
But kidding.
Appreciate you filling in. It was fun. Yes.
But
it was a good
right
podcast, JP. We did a damn good job.
That was fun. Yeah. Thank you. But the podcast was great with Todd Bowles. You guys did a fantastic job. We learned a lot. Some of my favorite parts were when you asked him if you were in a fight, who would you want backing you up? And he's like, well, can I throw some coaches in there too? Yeah. And the winner was
Kevin Ross.
Who's
like 5'8", 5'9", you know, and probably now well over 200 pounds. But I remember watching Kevin Ross when he was a cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs growing up. Yeah. And he was a tough guy. They called him The Rock. That was his nickname, Kevin Ross, The Rock. And he's actually in the Chiefs Ring of Honor. Big time player, kind of like the Brian Kelly to Rondé Barber, if you will. Mm-hmm. BK was a very tough cornerback, didn't really get the due and the recognition. Yeah. But that's tough playing opposite Rondé Barber, right? But you know, when you've got cornerbacks like Albert Lewis, when those two guys were the duo, and Lewis was an athletic freak, big time interceptor, and then Dale Carter, former first round pick out of LSU, comes up. Ross got overshadowed a little bit, but still was valuable to the franchise. And they called him The Rock because he was tough, man. He would come up and knock you out. He took on some big backs. I remember Natron Means playing for the Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
240-pound back, you know. And
Natron Means business.
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, just lit him up a couple times. So that was good. But then when I asked Coach, because I really wanted to know what player he was going to pick. And when he said Chris Godwin, that just blew my mind. Because the obvious choice is Vita Vea, Coach. What are you doing?
Vita's too nice a guy, though. I was surprised at Godwin too, because he's such a soft-spoken guy. Yeah. But he's a tough son of a bitch.
He is. He's tough, and he does the dirty work and all that. But it's like, Vita played running back. It's not like Vita can't move. I mean, Vita's got some sneaky speed, and
he would de-escalate. He'd avoid the fight.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. He's the deterrent. That's the whole thing. If Vita Vea shows up, the fight's over. It's just
fight's over.
It's starting. Yeah. So we're gonna have Jason Light on our podcast on Monday at 4:00. So make sure you check that out, Bucs fans.
Well, you think are?
I'm gonna ask him the same thing. Let's see if
he's got the Metallica concert this weekend, so he has to survive that.
Well, he's already told me. He's like he confirmed, and he's like, I will be there. I know I've got the concert this weekend. I'm like, well, we're giving you to 4:00, Jason. It's not like you have to get out of bed, at 8:00 and do the podcast. You have some time to have those beers wear off. So
yes, yeah. All right. So anything else you gleaned from this weekend or this week at OTAs?
I like what I saw from the cornerbacks.
Yeah,
and
I was going to ask you about that.
There's only so much you can do. This is flag football time, right? This is just shorts and shirts, and you're running around and all that stuff. But this is the time where you can cover. You can catch passes. This is more of like flag football where it's passing, right? Whereas as opposed to running and all that. But Benjamin Morrison made a play on Emeka Egbuka, and first of all, it looked like it was going to be a fantastic catch. I mean, Emeka Egbuka, 6'1", 205, built like Chris Godwin. He went up in the air, elevated, caught the ball above his head, and just like a fantastic play. Great throw and great catch by Emeka Egbuka. The problem is he didn't come down with the ball. Benjamin Morrison skied up there with him and without even touching Emeka Egbuka, really, there was no pass interference on the play, went up and swatted the ball out of Emeka Egbuka's hands.
Damn.
And then they both collided after that and fell to the ground. And Emeka Egbuka looked like he had the wind knocked out of him for a second. You know, it was a hard landing.
Yeah.
You don't typically see that play in OTAs. You know, you want to come out of practices unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, it's like, man, I love the competitiveness of both of these players, especially Morrison, because that's what we didn't see enough of: contested catches, pass breakups, interceptions, for the love of God, right? So that was great to see, the highly competitive nature of a June OTA. Like they're going after it. They're both those players were treating it like it was a game, and that was great to see from two rookies, especially your first and second round pick. Yeah. Then during the individual part of practice before that, Kevin Ross had his cornerbacks all working together. One cornerback was the receiver, one cornerback was the cornerback, and they were working kind of like in that short red zone area, 10 yards and in, and playing man coverage. Mm-hmm. And getting up and playing really aggressive and playing super tight. And that's one thing Todd Bowles said on the show. He was asked I kind of like softly asked the question at the beginning of the podcast. And then we had another question from one of our fans say, Coach, why do your corners play off so far? What are you doing? It was basically the gist of it. It was like a little harder edged question. But Todd didn't back away from it. He's like, yeah, it bothers me too. And we are going to have our corners playing.
But he's the coach. I didn't understand that answer. I know he's like, yeah, I don't want him to play that. I'm like, then why are they doing it? Do they just not listen to you? What's going on?
That's what it is. Part of it. That's what it is. And here's the thing: when your starters are Zion McCollum and Jamel Dean, and your backups without Bryce Hall are Tyreek Funderburk and Josh Hayes, what's the consequence? It's not going to be like, damn it, Jamel, if you don't listen.
So maybe that's why they drafted two corners.
Yes. Yes. I think that's exactly what it is. To give Todd Bowles some options.
Right.
Listen, I mean, and this is at any level of football. I coach Pop Warner. I played 2 years in high school. Not very good. You know, college, pro. You know, it happens at every level. Player screws up. He comes to the sideline. They put the backup in. He stands next to the coach and says, "Can't have you doing that. Can't have you doing that. Watch the guy just put in there. Watch him not do it." Right? Okay. Like, message sent. Do I want to play him the rest of the game or play you? You tell me. Oh, you want to go back in and do what I told you to do? Here you go. This is your last shot. You know, I mean, that's common. That's normal. That's coaching. Right. But the problem is you have to be able to trust the backup. Like, you can't sit there and all of a sudden make your defense weak at a spot by putting in the weak link player. But that's kind of what happened last year. They didn't have anybody to turn to when Jamel or Zion weren't listening and following directions, you know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's what competition breeds. It makes everybody better, and it gets the coach the options to replace guys. If,
I know that happened last year with Rachaad White.
Yeah.
Because I remember Liam Cohen said, and you know, I pick up on things in press conferences. That's kind of one of my special mutant abilities as a reporter. And before even OTA started, we asked him about the running backs, and he's like, I want our running backs, you know, to and through the hole, running like they're shot out of a cannon. And what was the knock on Rachaad White before last year? Tiptoe, right?
Yeah.
You know, too laissez-faire, you know, reading rather than hitting the hole. And I know that happened in training camp, right? Rachaad got the reps, and you'd see him kind of tiptoe through and do all that stuff. And then he's out, and they put Bucky Irving in. And I guarantee whether it was Liam Cohen or whether it was Skip Pete, the running backs coach, one of them had a conversation and say, Rachaad, do it like that guy, right? That's the way we want you doing it. And sometimes you need to see it from the sidelines. You need to see what it's supposed to look like. And I think that helped Rashaad's game. I mean, I think he went from like, what, a 3.7 yard average to 4.6.
Yes.
You know, with fewer carries, but I mean, he had a 50-some yard run, like a career high, and was a much more productive running back in there because, like you said, JP, and you add Bucky Irving to the mix, raises the elevation of that competition. You know?
Yeah, and they ran a lot more those man blocking schemes instead of zone, and we're
gap.
so much better.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And that running game is something I'm really looking forward to taking another step. I mean, they were excellent last year. I think they could be even better this year with Graham Barton. One year better.
Comments there, like
which one?
Making fun of my fingers because
I had a block punt in high school as a finger injury to prove it.
I do.
Showing it off.
Yeah, I only had 2 highlights in my high school years. 2 the 2 years I played. One was the aforementioned block punt. Have you heard of like the story of like the Red Sea parting in the Bible? Moses leads his people. Okay, I had a similar experience in high school where I'm like on punt block, right, and I'm defensive tackle lined up there, and for whatever reason, the long snapper went that way, and the guard went that way. And literally, just no one was there. It's
called film study. The coach said, "Yeah, we don't have to worry about that guy." So
that's true. Yes, I was gonna say because I didn't do any film study. I was just like, "Holy crap!"
That guy never does anything. Don't worry about blocking him. Just
exactly. That was probably the tail of the tape with me. That was the scouting report on number 72 or whatever number it was back then. Anyways, so I go straight at the punter, right? And what's the hardest part of the football? The tip, right? Like that hard little thing there. And so I caught the ball right off of his foot and blocked it, and it knocked both of these fingers like sideways, like my digits were dislocated. And this is like before like sports medicine, and team trainer and all that. So I had Coach Miller, who was like the PE coach, but he was also like our sophomore team football coach. He went like that and kind of put him back into place. And then Dr. Miller took a popsicle stick, 2 popsicle sticks, and some tape.
Works great.
And said, you'll be fine at the end of the season, right? So
you don't need an emergency room. I
did that with
my stepson the other day. Give me a popsicle stick and a little bit of tape. You'll be fine. We'll get that.
It didn't work. I'm
not
go back to normal.
$500 to go to the emergency room to get a metal popsicle stick and some tape. We're just going to do it ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Didn't you'll be fine. Yeah, and it worked, of course. All right, Scotty, great stuff. I love the stories.
I only have 2. That was 1, so there's only 1 more I can share with you.
Tell everybody how they get your content, and they'll tell the next story on the podcast.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Pewter Report podcast 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. Next week's a big week. We have a show today, but it's just Bailey and Matt doing it, so I'm not even on it. So I'm not even going to promote it. I mean, you can watch it. It's probably going to be good, but I mean,
low priority.
So we'll skip to next week when I'm on. Jason Light, Monday, 4:00 on Pewter Report TV. That's our YouTube channel. And then we have 3 straight days of Bucs minicamp coverage. So we're going to be at minicamp on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And that's what the topics are going to be. We're going to give you all the news and reporting from minicamp, and that should be fun. And the Hassan Reddick watch is still on, and hopefully that watch will be turned off on Tuesday because it'll be there. And then you can also check out all of our content on pewterreport.com. Have a new SR's Fab 5 column coming out on tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm writing about yet, but it's going to be good because I got to think of something in about.
Those are the best ones.
Punt block, I think.
Yeah, punt blocking in the NFL.
I just told the story. Is that going to be redundant if I write about it tomorrow?
No, not at all.
No, nobody's listening anyway.
Yeah, okay.
If you add my quotes in about them doing film study on you, I think it'll be funnier anyway.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then of course social media, X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. So that's all I got.
All right, Scotty, great stuff, man. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report, best of the business right there. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side, get to all you mean commenters in here today. I've got ruthless people that you are. Smart asses, ruthless people. I love you.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. All right, quick break. We are brought to you by Cafe Paradiso. Go see my friend Paulo over there, number 3 in Open Table. Great traditional Italian food. Man, I could go for some chicken marsala right now, a little lasagna, some caprese salad, some branzino, some salchicha, all that good stuff. Get it at Cafe Paradiso. Get a nice romantic weekend for you and your wife. Go on over there. White tablecloth, great folks. Cafe Paradiso. Tell them JP sent you. All right, quick break. Back on the other side. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. You know, we told you about the amazing Diamond Savings Account where your diamond never loses its value. Well, now, through the end of May, the Gold and Diamond Source will double your trade-in value up to $2,500. Just bring in your jewelry to trade and your $2,500 piece turns into $5,000. It's time to upgrade that ring, earrings, whatever. We have gemologists on site to make the deal. Double your trade value up to $2,500. Gets you $5,000 to spend. So go through your jewelry box and get that stuff you never wear and get something new and stylish that you're going to love. Great experience, and we will double your trade-in now till the end of May. We can finance you as well. No interest for 5 years. Only at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. Always online at goldanddiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, Tampa Bay, it's time to get your AC unit ready for summer. And here at Third Generation Plumbing and Mechanical, we recommend getting ahead of the game, keeping your family cool before the hot summer months with one of our maintenance agreements in the hopes of avoiding the dreaded emergency service call. Our maintenance agreements include, we'll test the electrical components, check and tighten high and low voltage wire connections. We'll check the refrigerant for manufacturer's performance levels, test thermostats, calibrate if needed, clean the evaporator coil and condenser coil, and clear and treat the drain line and drain pans. Just call us at 813-961-8024 for the special rates, and a human will actually answer. 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. I was just listening to some comments from Rory McIlroy this morning. He finally did some media,
and he made no apologies for not doing it last time.
Yeah, and said he was pissed off that they outed him on his driver, supposed to be held confidential, and Scotty Scheffler didn't Scheffler out himself though?
Yeah.
Well, didn't McIlroy out himself?
No, I think it was Scheffler, wasn't it?
Was Scheffler made it public?
I think so. I think he named the other players that were also doing that. I don't know.
Oh,
he was pissed though. He was pissed.
So Rory was pissed because Scotty
or whoever it was. I may be wrong, but it was something. Yeah. It wasn't Rory. Rory did not out himself.
I know Scotty outed himself,
right? And Scotty may have mentioned other names. Yeah. With the driver.
Is it like some unwritten rule? Where's Gerber? We got to get Gerber in on this. Find out what's what the unwritten rule, or that you can't.
I didn't know we had unwritten rules in golf. We have them in baseball. I didn't know we have them in golf.
That's probably maybe. I don't know. We'll have to get the lowdown on that. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Before we get to comments, real quick. want to mention our good friends Onsite Construction, FL.com. Those are the folks. Get in line, get your contractor in line. You get a free consultation with them. So hurricane season's coming up. If we were to have more damage, you would try to find a contractor. You had to find, some schlub from Missouri or something who came down here carpet bagging and took your money and didn't do anything. Don't get caught like that. Onsite Construction, they've been here for 25 years. They know what they're doing. Jason Foss said we have him in yesterday in studio. Great dude. Onsite Construction, FL.com. So go get a relationship with him now. So if you need him, you'll know him, and you'll be on the list at the top of the list. There is as I mentioned early in the show, some votes going on today. Colleen Wright from the Times just put this out. Among the votes today at the St. Pete City Council, affordable housing, sewage system improvements. The council will hold a vote on about $5 million for Tropicana Field repairs and expenses. Stay tuned. So $5 million. Like, the roof, I guess, is already paid for, or they've already voted for it. So it's going to take a lot more than just $5 million to repair the inside of the Trop. I mean, they got to do scoreboard, they got to do field, they got to do all the the plumbing issues, bathrooms. Like it's the mold remediation. Jason talked about that yesterday.
That's another be 20, 30, $40 million.
Gotta be. So I don't know how much. I don't know what the discussion today is going to be. Very interesting because the St. Pete City Council has already said we don't want to do this. We have to do it. So I'll be interested if anybody talks about settlement talks with the Rays and how those have gone. We might get some news out of this. I'd be very interested. Chris Lopez is going to join us at 11:30. Now he's on the Pinellas County Commission, so he's not privy to anything that the city is doing. He might know some things, but we'll kind of get some thoughts from him on what's going down over there.
We have a update here. Text message from Johnny Gerber. What happens inside the ropes stays inside the ropes. Unwritten tour rule.
So when they fail drivers, the PGA tests, I think Johnny told us 50 players a week, test their drivers to see if they have too much bounce in them. So, and those two guys got nabbed. So there's no penalty for it. They just have to switch out their driver. Right. Because it's a natural thing. It just kind of wears down. And I asked Johnny on the air, why don't they just go into the tent and say, hey, check my driver and see if it's still legal? He's like, they ain't doing that on purpose. They're going to use it until they get caught, which is kind of if you think about it, in a self-regulating type sport like they are, right, on the course and whatnot, why don't they self-regulate that?
Hang on, we have
question.
I think we're trying to get Johnny on the phone right now. Hang on, Johnny, trying to get you on Bluetooth here. Give me just a second.
I think it's an interesting discussion for sure. I think we'd get into this today, but yeah, very interesting.
Give me a second here. I had Bluetooth.
All right, I'll go to some of these great comments that are coming in. John Hill went to the hospital the other day. Good morning, gents. Thanks for the positive thoughts. Much appreciated. Hope you're doing better. Black Spaceman said, JP, you said as such, what's going to hold this team back this season from getting to where they want is what's been holding them back for the last 3 years, injuries and Todd Bowles. Listen, Todd's doing everything to improve himself as a coach. So I hope the game management's better. We got to be better than 2-6 and 7-point games. And the proof will be in the pudding, but I think he's doing everything he can, making changes to the defensive scheme, bringing on a full-time game manager. He talked about on that on the Pewter Report podcast,
right,
what that entails. And I think it's going to be very beneficial for not just him, but for the whole team. This full-time game manager is teaching situations in the classroom to these players. So when they're on the field, they know time and score and what's needed.
All right, we got Johnny.
All right, Johnny Gerber, PGA Pro. Breaking news: Rory McIlroy talking.
Why is he so pissed?
Why is he?
Well, you have to realize if all the dirty laundry would come out on tour players, then there probably wouldn't be a tour, right? I mean, it's.
Well, we're not talking about that stuff. We're talking about illegal drivers, not.
There's
illegal.
There's a lot of illegal stuff, but you can't pick and choose how you out these guys. It's just one of those things. So what they're doing now is it's almost like a stoplight. So when they go test their drivers, there's a green light, red light, and there's a caution. So most of these guys have, they'll go in and there's a caution. So they'll say yellow. So you might have 5 more rounds to play with this driver. Or you might have 2 more rounds to play with this driver. It's not, okay, I got this driver and I've been playing with it for a month and it's in the red. Like, it doesn't work that way. They'll give you caution. The reason why they're getting these higher end players, and certainly shouldn't have been talked about, is because they want the high end players to play well. They just do. I mean, it's almost like a favoritism. So, they don't want this to come out and have all the scrutiny saying, oh, Rory's been playing with a marginal driver, a driver that doesn't conform. They just don't want the dirty laundry out there. If it is dirty laundry, they don't want the rumor mills going with these high-end players.
All right. Well, that makes sense. So, but Rory, is he accusing Scotty of outing him?
No, he's accusing. I don't think he's accusing Scotty of outing him. I think he's just upset of, Rory's been in the media. He thought he was going to get past all the media stuff when he's on the policy board, being very outspoken about Liv. So he had this little lob here. He was just tired of being the face of this thing. And now he's the face of a marginal driver. He's just over it. He's just over all the kind of the scrutiny, and him, it is part of the deal, being the best player, one of the best players in the world. You are the kind of face of the PGA Tour along with Scotty. But they're just different mentalities of people. Scotty just doesn't care. He's like, hey, okay, I got a driver. He's just aloof that way, right? I mean, and Rory takes it a little bit more to heart. And, I just think Rory's been trying to stay out of the limelight a little bit, especially with his personal life. And I just think this is another thing is like, guys, I just don't want to be involved in this stuff. And then you outed me, and I was like the only person along with Scotty. Scotty outed himself. He said it. Rory's not going to be a guy that's going to come out and say it himself. He's just over being in the public eye.
Okay. But did Scotty out him in that press conference? Because I think he did. Or did he not?
No, it was already out there. I don't think he really outed him. And if he did, he didn't do it intentionally. Right. I mean, it was Scotty. Scotty's not that way. First off, he doesn't really care. He doesn't think there's an advantage of, Scotty's mentality is, hey, you can go ahead and play with the illegal driver. I'm still going to beat you. I don't think, I don't think Scotty really cares that much, so I don't think he outed him. And if he did, it certainly wasn't intentional.
Scotty Scheffler.
All right. All right, partner. Thank you for cleaning that up. I appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
All right, fellas. Have a good afternoon.
Always available. By the way, Sam Burns is at the top of the leaderboard. He's on our card, isn't he? Isn't Burns on? I think
on Johnny's card?
Yeah. I think he is.
If I still have Johnny's card here available for us.
It's 4 under par. I think I just saw the leaderboard.
Johnny's what? Magic 8 Ball. What does Johnny's card look like this week?
Yeah,
22-1.
Sam Burns, 22-1. He's on top of the leaderboard. All right. Who else did I see up there? All right. Get your bets in.
Very
now,
nice.
Now the odds have probably gone down.
Probably.
I missed out. Nathan Ellie says Bucs and Rays Stadium side by side. Hell no. Tampa doesn't have the parking, roads, and transit system to support that kind of complex. Got a map for a Metallica concert for parking and Rays game. It's a map. Nathan, they're not going to play at the same time.
They're going to share a parking lot.
There's plenty of parking.
Plus, Nathan could just fly his helicopter to the game.
You got HEC. You got the Publix parking lot. We can take over the Park North.
Go park at Riveters.
There's plenty of parking. All the neighborhoods. We're fine. We're fine. Just all the were you part of the doomsday folks when the NFL schedule came out and they're like, oh my God, the Rays are gonna play at the same time. Dale Mabry's gonna be, and let's move the Rays games. Relax.
They can do that.
Figure it out. You wouldn't want a Rays stadium right next to the Bucs stadium and a sliding roof going over both of them and a huge entertainment complex and residential and all that, the huge complex right there, be the number one sports complex in the world.
You can go to all your Metallica concerts.
All your Metallica concerts. Will have the baseball stadium also be an amphitheater? Have all the new restaurants and bars and everything around that? I mean, plus you'd have more Super Bowls, national championship games. You don't want that?
Yeah.
You don't want that?
More World Series.
Come on, bro. Think big. Think big. We just go right past Atlanta, Dallas, LA, most SoFi State, all those places. We'd be number one. Be hosting Super Bowls, national championship games, wrestling.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. Yeah. I'm all for it.
Wrestling.
That'll be in the smaller stadium.
Mini kiss.
Daniel Rivera said, by the way, did you see the bomb dropped by John Morgan? Said they might be interested in the White Sox. It sounds familiar. That's because it happened back in 1988 with Tampa Bay, Orlando in that position. Yeah, they're the hot girlfriend now, like we were back in the day. They're like, everybody wants to date Orlando. Yeah, bring the White Sox to Orlando. That's great. You imagine them having the White Sox in Orlando and the Rays in Tampa Bay? That's never going to happen. I mean, the White Sox move, they'll move to one of these expansion markets that they're looking at.
Nashville.
Yes, Nashville. Rick says, Brody Brazil says, forget Orlando. In this next video, he documented how Legoland may be the new home for the Rays. Stu says if they build it, they will move it. I don't think that's going to happen, Rick. He also adds,
Legoland, though, would be an awesome sponsor for a stadium, though. Can you imagine the architecture of a Lego-sponsored baseball or football stadium? Oh, my God. I'm going crazy right now.
No.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Legoland?
Yeah. Holy crap. The
be
stadium would look like little Legos.
Yeah, be kind of boxy. Yeah, maybe. Cool. Rick says, JP just teased next year's sports club inductees. Of course, he was talking about himself. The club finally heard about all this sports prowess from K to 8. Yeah. All-American.
Yeah,
All-American. Foursquare.
I was an all-pro at every sport in elementary school.
You can't be inducted until you retire.
Foursquare was one of my fortes as well.
Oh,
I'd have the spin ball. Yep. Spin it away. Yeah.
I dominated wall ball, too.
Yeah. Tetherball. Oh,
yeah.
Tetherball champion. Oh, so good at tetherball. So good at tetherball. I had just, you hit it down. Had these little kids trying to jump up and trying to hit the ball. I'm just like, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Remember tetherball?
I bet you were a wicked taunter back in soccer elementary school.
Oh, my God. It made Coach Prime look like school child. Just purpose new membership at Sports Club at Tampa Bay. Welcome aboard, John Hill.
Glad you're healthy, John.
B's in a nasty mood today. Said, did Mary Castor really confirm anything regarding ownership groups or just stating was publicly available info? You mean from me and the other reporters? I would suggest that she knows. Well, I know that she knows what we know, and she's confirmed it independently. So, yes, I would say she is very much aware of the group that is hopefully very much closer to buying this team at this point. As I mentioned, a lot of this has to, when you're buying a team, there's a ton of due diligence that has to be done. You got to get all the numbers from the team, like all the deep dive. You got to do deep dives. You got to sign NDAs. You got to sign your life away because you're going in that data room and they're showing you all baseball's numbers. You're seeing, attendance numbers that other people don't see. You're seeing season ticket numbers. You're seeing sponsorship dollars. You're seeing everything, the central fund money, the revenue sharing, everything. And you're sworn to secrecy, but you're also having, especially in this case, with the way that Stu Sternberg operates on the fringes, according to the lawsuit, allegedly, and what, how he completely defrauded his partners, allegedly, according to the lawsuit that he had to settle for tons of money. And you have to rely on him to give you accurate numbers. And none of these business folks that are trying to buy this team are dumb enough to just accept those numbers. They need verification and they got to see tons and tons of documents to verify it. And so it's a lengthy process. And it's going to take some time. So That if you're wondering why it's taking time, that's why it's taking time. And I think also it involves, getting a resolution to where the team's going to play. If they're going to fix a Trop, which it looks like they're going to do. Manfred says that's going to happen. They're voting on that today. And a new ownership group. I mean, I'd much rather they stay at Steinbrenner, but if they're going to redo the Trop, fine. It's fine. It's not my money. I don't care. As long as there's a sale, they have if having a place to play in Tropicana Field for 3 more years is part of getting that sale done, I'm for that too. And I think, by the way, attendance would increase dramatically with a new ownership group. Just watch. Yeah. It will increase dramatically because you're going to have support of the fan base. You're going to have a bigger payroll, and I think, and the promise of a new stadium coming in Tampa. I think, and they'll be like, hey, you want new seats? You want to get part of the priority seats in Tampa? You're going to need to buy some seats in Tropicana Field for the next 3 years. People will be lining up to do that. Lining up. Watch when you change the ownership group. What else we got here? B says JP weaseled himself on some board. JP couldn't be on the board of a lemonade stand. Wow. You're nasty, B. You're nasty.
What the heck?
You're not on the board you would never be on the board of the Sports Club of Tampa Bay. We wouldn't have you because you don't even have a picture of yourself. You're hiding behind some fabric, whatever that is that you have there. I know. Bucs Race Bowles asks, can we get Randy back? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we go trade for him back. What else we got here? Like this one from Rick. Sarvasier did his Devin White impersonation last season when he disappeared for the year. What else we got? Anything else in here? Jace, Nathan's inviting everybody to his tailgate party to the Metallica show. We're bringing the blackened Metallica whiskey. Oh, wow.
What the heck is that?
Woo.
Man, I'm sorry. I just don't have the stomach for a Metallica concert at 54 years old.
No, I'm out on that one. B says votes aren't new. Was said from beginning these votes would be staggered. There will still be more. If it comes in under 70 million, it would be a success. Yeah. I mean, but man, and let's hope insurance covers that because they got a lot of other work to get done in St. Pete and Pinellas. Nathan says Sua Opeta pushing Ben Bredesen. Is Sterling Shepard going to beat out Trey Palmer? Is Brewer pushing Gaines? The problem, Nathan, you want to ask all these questions about guards? There's no pads going on, bro.
No.
By
the way, Sterling Shepard and Trey Palmer, probably neither one will be on this team when the season starts.
There are upgrades to be done.
Yeah.
Sergio Beltras says the Rays don't sell out Steinbrenner for the 6th straight game. I think it's 5 in the last 6. 8,500 people there yesterday. Yeah, it's not good. But we got 3-day games in a row coming up too this weekend, so that's not going to be good either because of the Metallica concert, I think.
Yep.
What else we got here? Okay, let's get to some other topics here before we get to Chris Lapola. Michael Kelly is leaving the University of South Florida for the Naval Academy, and his father was a midshipman, graduated there in 1967. So a lot of you were saying, well, that seems like a downgrade to go from USF to the Naval Academy. Not for him. It's a very prestigious position. I think they've only had 2 ADs in 40 years. He doesn't have to deal with NIL, and he doesn't have to deal with the building of the stadium, which I was talking to some folks last night. It's like, yeah, that's, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to have to deal with all the contractors and the deadlines and the budgets and all that stuff. Like that's a freaking nightmare. So he did his work. He took the budget from $50 million a year to $100 million a year for USF athletics. Got the all the new facilities built. The stadium's on the way. So this is it's a bittersweet day for so many of us who love what Michael Kelly brought to the table. And I thought he was going to be a huge part of moving USF into the next phase, which is a power, wherever this is going, Power 4, Super Conference, whatever, because of his connections within college football. So it's a big hit. And so who takes over? A couple of names have been mentioned. Somebody in the comments asked me about Jim Leavitt. I love Jim Leavitt. Love him to death. He's going into their Hall of Fame. He's a football coach. There was a time when, the football coach retired and became the athletic director because it was kind of a ceremonial position. That's not what it is anymore. You need a hardcore, well-connected businessman that knows and wants to deal with this stuff. I got to tell you, Jim Leavitt doesn't want any part of dealing with this stuff. I would guess. I mean, it's a totally different animal. So as much as I love the idea of him being part of the program, I don't think USF is make him the defensive coordinator. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
But no disrespect to the coaching staff now, but he's a football coach. He's not a businessman. Derek Brooks is a very interesting because he is a businessman, and he's been in administration for quite some time on the Board of Regents of Florida State for a while. His daughter plays softball for USF. He's been part of the USF family for a long time now, quite frankly. And I think Derek would be a great choice. Mark Urich is another guy I know very well, former Louisville athletic director, who I think was incredibly unfairly painted in the scandals that went on at Louisville. I think that's if you want the most accomplished guy in terms of building facilities and getting stuff done and well connected in terms of knowing people around college athletics that would help usher you into a new conference in that Power Five. He knows, worked at Louisville, knows the people in the ACC, knows everybody. That's your guy. That to me, Mark Urich is a guy that would be a tremendous choice for USFAD. If they can get past a lot of the stupid stuff that's out there, and it's unwarranted, in my opinion, that's your guy. You to get a guy of that caliber with his experience, I think would be tremendous. Jay Stroman, by the way, is the CEO of the USF Foundation, who's worked closely with Michael Kelly in the new stadium development, is the guy who was the interim. I'm not sure where he is on any possible list. And, of course, they're going to open this up to Rob Higgins' name has been mentioned because he wanted it in the last go-round. And, Rob is a great consensus builder, fantastic consensus builder. So, and obviously can go out and get great events and knows how to, knows a lot of these people from working with the college football playoff as well. So I think Rob would be a great choice. Doesn't have the long-term AD experience, obviously, that Urich has, but, has great connections in this marketplace. So I think he would be another fantastic choice as well. But we'll see where that goes. But it is a critical hire. It is a critical hire at a very, very important time. So we'll see where that goes.
Good deal.
All right. Let's bring in our good friend, Chris Lotfula, Pinellas County Commission, and has taken over as Stu Sternberg's public enemy number one. Has taken my mantle, which I reluctantly give up, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well, pal. How are y'all doing?
Great.
Well, first and foremost, let's talk a little baseball as we are wont to do. This Rays team, I don't know if I saw this coming. 11 out of 14. They're starting to get healthy. The starting pitching has returned to what we thought it would be, and they are on a run, my friend. Your thoughts?
They finally have home field advantage.
Yes.
And Junior Caminero is showing all-star and MVP and franchise player vibes.
Yeah. I love watching him. Aranda, love watching him hit.
Mm-hmm.
Who does he remind you of?
Junior Caminero?
Aranda.
Oh, Aranda.
Either one. Take your pick or both.
I
like Tony Gwynn.
Maybe
he reminds me of
five.
Tony Gwynn. Who?
Oh, I was going to say number 5. But yeah, I'm not sure who Aranda would remind me of. What he reminds me of what I want Brandon Loud to become.
Yeah. Like more consistent.
Yeah.
Way more consistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the Trop today, I know you're not on the St. Pete County board, but can you enlighten us to anything as far as the Trop getting done? Have you heard anything around your circles?
Yeah. I mean, I expect that it's going to be repaired. I think that, knowing Stu Sternberg, like him, he's going to want it to be a Taj Mahal, and he's going to want taxpayers to pay for it. And I'm not sure that that's what St. Pete is required to have to do.
No.
And so, that's not a county issue, but I think that those votes will pass. And I think that the Rays will be there at least the next 3 years. And I think that it's good for Tampa Bay that the Rays will be at the Trop, because it keeps them there. If it's up to Stu Sternberg, I think he would be in a different market. But the longer that he's forced to be in a place that he doesn't want to be, and there's very much an adversarial relationship now with everybody in town and him, I don't think that that's a bad thing for baseball in Tampa Bay.
So you think that all this? So I guess they're passing $5 million today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to take a lot more than that to repair all the inside of the Trop. Where do you think that number is going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I think the initial estimates was 55 million or 50 million, something like that. And, it's interesting because a $1.3 billion stadium project was not supposed to have cost overruns. And, the earth fell down and the sky fell down because there was cost overruns that Stu was going to have to pay for. I suspect that there's going to be cost overruns with this project because any big construction project, it's going to be more expensive than the initial estimates. And
who's going to pay for that?
I feel for the city in that regard, but it's something that they're contractually obligated to do because of who they're dealing with. If they had a better partner, they could negotiate a settlement, that keeps them, say, hey, here's $50 million that you can use to build a stadium in St. Pete. But Stu didn't want that. So, he'll always be supporting whatever is best for himself and taxpayers and the Tampa Bay be darned.
So the folks at the St. Pete Council has pretty much said they do not want to repair the Trop, right?
Right.
They're only doing it because they're contractually obligated to do it.
Right.
Now,
and that in and of itself is not a very good partnership. And
right.
So, they're basically, in business with a guy that they do not like. And it wasn't too long ago that they were, praising them and everybody down there was loving Stu and the mayor was putting his arm around them. And now I'm not sure that they really want to be in the same room with them.
No.
And what's going to be interesting is the next 3 years in St. Pete, and what that's going to be like. Because I don't think, there's not enough deep breaths that somebody can take, to mend some of those fences. Those bridges are burned. But I do think for the long-term viability of the Rays staying in Tampa Bay, it's good. And I think eventually he's going to, sell it because he doesn't have any other options. And he doesn't have the money to build a stadium in Tampa Bay. And so, he's running out of things that he can do.
Yeah, as we've painted that picture many times, he's in a box. The folks in St. Pete don't want to work with him. Pinellas County doesn't want to work with him. I mean, there's been people talking about, there's the HSN site. Maybe Pinellas County would like to partner with the Rays. And you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Pinellas County has a couple sites that could be used for a Rays Stadium outside of just the Trop site.
Right.
I think Hillsborough County has probably 3 or 4 sites that could be used for a Rays Stadium. The problem is who you're dealing with.
Right.
And nobody, not only does people not trust him, but I think there is a legitimate concern that he does not have the money to pay for his end of any stadium deal.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, there's no point in even wasting time or wasting taxpayer resources to even start those negotiations because he's not going to be able to fulfill his obligations.
And speaking of wasting time and money, Are you guys going to sue the Rays for the time and money that you spent on this stadium deal? Is the city going to do as well?
I mean, there's not really a lawsuit there to be had. We can ask for, them to pay us back for, the consultants, the lawyers, and things like that. But good luck asking for Stu to pay back the taxpayers
voluntarily.
Right. I mean, he will. I think we would be better chance playing the lottery. But I think to that point, the city and county are each out a few $1,000,000 each. Just by wasting literally a couple years of time and resources, and but that does tell you how long it takes for a stadium deal to get put together. And so our friends down the highway 80 miles east of us, think that they can get a stadium deal done in 6 months. That just doesn't happen. Even with a cooperative owner, that doesn't happen.
Are you talking about your friends in Orlando?
Well, they're your friends too.
Yes, they are. I get a kick out of you going back and forth with them. I try not to, but I get a kick out of you going back and forth with them. And I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. I'll just warn you up front what's going to happen if you're going to deal with Stu. And to your point, Major League Baseball hasn't given him, Stu, I'm talking about, the permission to go talk to other markets, which is in situations like this is pretty typical.
Right. And
I wonder why.
The Marlins had permission to talk to other markets. And from everything that I've seen, read, and heard, Stu Sternberg doesn't even have permission to talk to Orlando.
Right.
And I would pay money, and tickets could probably be sold for people to watch a meeting between John Morgan and Stu Sternberg. Because I think that would last about 10 minutes before John Morgan just, went ballistic on him.
That is a great idea, by the way.
Hoot.
Yes,
because I don't think a businessman like John Morgan would have the patience to deal with Stu for very long.
Yeah, his pursuit of the Rays would end quite quickly at that point. I can quite assure you of that. So, do you think there have been settlement talks between St. Pete and the Rays in terms of not fixing the Trop, just paying the Rays off, and then the team continuing to play at Steinbrenner, maybe even under another ownership group? Do you know if there have been any settlement talks? Did you lose us?
Hey, this cut out, dude.
Uh-oh.
No, you're still on. You're still on.
Can you hear us, Chris?
Yeah, let's just take him out for a second until they fix that. Yeah, so the part of the question is that, you know what? I'll tell him to jump out and just come back in.
Oh, he's gone. Yeah, he may be doing
he's gone. All right, he'll jump back in, hopefully. The point of the question is basically, the Rays could continue to play at Steinbrenner Field if there were a new ownership group and there was a settlement, where this Rays said, okay, hey, I know you don't want to fix the Trop, so we'll just settle. You give us, $50 million, whatever it is, $75 million, and we'll call it a day. New ownership group comes in, they play at Steinbrenner Field for the next couple of years, and then move into a new stadium. That's I think that's something that's doable, and certainly it would allow the city to move on and start developing the Trop. Are you back?
Yes, sir.
Sorry
about that government technology.
Yeah. So I was asking the question: Do you think that the city has tried to settle with the Rays so they wouldn't have to rebuild the Trop and spend all this money and then blow it up?
Yeah, and I know that for a fact, and they couldn't come to an agreement, and it's actually something that was very beneficial to Rays fans, and Stu refused.
In what way?
And I don't want to get into specifics, but it would have helped the cost overruns, and by diverting some of that money to help pay for a new stadium.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes total sense. And of course, once again, and this is something that I've talked about for a long time with Stu. I don't have anything personal against him. It's the way he's run his business and how it's been to the detriment of the people of Tampa who have put off development to try to get the Rays over there. And we were, go back to the 2018 Ybor City thing where he walked away from that, wasted our time as well.
Right. And I think part of the reason why MLB is so frustrated with him and, refuses to allow him to talk to other markets and they've been committed to the Tampa Bay market is they know all of these details of, things that he was offered. All of these other, even after the storm, like these are things that were never in the media that especially the city was trying to offer him, and he just refused. And the reason why the Rays stadium saga in Tampa Bay has not been successful is not because of the business community. It's not been the government side. It's been because of Stu.
Right. Yeah, and that's it. And now Major League Baseball knows that. Right. And I talked to some folks last night at the some influential folks around the Tampa Bay area the last week or so, and because everything's really quiet, the people we normally talk to have politely declined to say, you know what, that now is not the time to have anything out there in the public because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes with this new ownership group. That's what I've been told. Yeah. They're in the data room. They're trying to get all the information. And it's going to take the time in dealing with the Rays. So I think that's where it's at. I think new ownership is coming. Mayor Castor mentioned that the other day. Is that what you're hearing?
Yeah. So even going back to last year, I had heard, and this didn't come from Manfred, this came from other folks. I had heard that, and this was late last year, I'd heard that there were groups in Tampa Bay trying to buy the Rays. And I think there's up to 5 groups trying to buy the Rays currently in Tampa Bay. Dadgummit, this cut out again.
No, we can actually hear you.
We can still hear you.
Can you hear us? I guess not. All right. I'm getting it before we get something else. We'll try one more time.
We start getting cuss words coming out.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want that. Yeah, and this is where it's at right now. And I firmly believe that Major League Baseball, and this is why Manfred is telling everybody we have a solution in Tampa Bay. He knows that these groups are able to do it. All right, we'll try one more time. He's back.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. We'll just go a couple more minutes. I'm in the same
office that I've always been in. I don't know what's going on.
It tends to happen when we're talking about Stu. I don't know exactly why, but it just tends to happen. I don't know.
But I've heard that there's as many as 5 groups in Tampa Bay trying to buy the Rays, which means if you follow the media reports, there's 1 or 2 that haven't been spoken for.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that might be who Major League Baseball is leaning towards. And I don't know who's in them. I don't know how many people or anything like that. I just know that for a while, MLB has been aware of, groups of folks trying to buy the Rays.
Yeah. And I think the fact that Manfred said even yesterday, reaffirmed Tampa Bay is the solution. He knows what's going on. He knows it's getting close, but they're not going to talk publicly about who it is, what the numbers are. So I think it's getting close. So bottom line, Chris, is that I think the Rays are like what you've been saying, and I've been saying all along. The Rays aren't going anywhere. It's just a matter of time that they just get it done, and the stadium's most likely going to be in Tampa.
Yeah, and I don't really care where the stadium is as long as it's in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very confident that they will be here for the long haul.
Awesome. Well, you and I need to take in a game at Steinbrenner soon, partner. I would get that done. All right.
All right, buddy.
All right. Appreciate you.
Sorry about the technical difficulties.
No worries about it.
All good.
We blame Stu. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, let's take one more break. We'll come back, finish up with some of your nasty comments, and get a couple other notes I got to get to.
Ruthless today, man.
Ruthless. We got to talk about that great overtime win last night by Edmonton. Screw this stinking dirty Panthers. We're brought to you by the great folks at Riveters. Go watch Game 1 tonight of the NBA Finals. They get started tonight. OKC and the Pacers. I kind of like maybe an upset in this one. I think the Pacers are getting little undervalued. Riveters Tampa is always the place to go to watch Rays baseball. Before and after the games, you could park there, have a great prime rib sandwich, or the wings are absolutely out of this world. Any of their entrees are fantastic. The prime rib itself, they serve that on the weekends, is awesome. So go check out the fresh food and the great staff. One of the great things I love about Riveters, the staff is so friendly and wonderful, and they get the job done. And the drinks are really, really nice. Really, really nice. So check out happy hour anytime at riveterstampa.com. Back at 3. Stay with us.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. It's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced, generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought to you by OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Third Generation Plumbing. Saw John Rodriguez last night at the Tampa Sports Club, the owner of ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com. Obviously, one of the great folks of Tampa Bay, one of our civic leaders and business leaders was there. So Third Generation Plumbing, get that AC tuned up for the summer, or if you have any issues at all in plumbing or AC or anything mechanical in your household, they can fix it. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com. There you see it right there. Great folks over there, 5-star reviews. So you don't have to worry about getting cheated by some unscrupulous AC repair person. There are a lot of them running around. So just call somebody from a Google map. Go and call somebody that's been doing it for 3 generations. That's thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
We have a new – oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We have a new leader at the RBC Canadian Open, one Jackson Suber.
Jackson Suber. Oh, really?
Is your leader at 6 under.
All right. Go Jackson.
I like
Palmacia and Tampa's own Jackson Suber.
Yeah. Thought you'd like
one
that.
Day. No, thank you. So 6 under. Yeah. Wow. Boy, if he could win that one.
Wow. Imagine.
Wow. Be huge. Talk about it. Somebody who goes low. And I wonder if I don't know if he's in the Open this year. If he qualified, I'd have to check. But if he wins this week, would that get him into the U.S. Open? I don't know how that works.
I don't think so.
Don't think so either. But maybe get him in the top 50.
Maybe.
I don't know. Rick says, my brothers and I are taking my 86-year-old dad to a Rays game tomorrow. Awesome. Cuban Heritage game. After a few IPAs, I may find myself in the friends family section. Any advice, JP? Mention you for an upgrade. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, mention JP's name.
JP said you could talk to Stu directly. I think that would work out great. By the way, Thomas Casper, who's watching the Franco trial, said the victim interview video was shown. Franco shaken. Attorney took him to the bathroom.
That's not good.
Video evidence in the Wander Franco trial had him leaving the courtroom in tears, according to Michael LaRue. So it's like all of this evidence is going to be entered and not good for Wander Franco. And I guess if you're a Rays fan in that realm, I know it's kind of weird to talk about baseball in this realm, but if he is convicted, then the contract comes off the books and they don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So,
I mean, from a purely baseball standpoint, I guess that's the good thing, right?
Yeah. And then, and if the law, if he's convicted, then, nobody wants him around here. And it takes a lot of the questions away that we were talking about yesterday. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we're not rooting for justice is what we're rooting for. That's we hope
either way. Yeah.
Gets figured out. All right. So did you watch any hockey game last night? I got home from the event and got caught the second and third periods because as the MC, I kept that sucker on time, even with Dick Vitale.
There you go.
Being the final.
Yeah. I tuned in about midway through the third when Edmonton was down 3-2.
So they were down 3-1 when I started watching. So they come back, it's 3-2. And then who scored? Draisaitl scored, or McDavid scored, or one of those two scored.
Right.
They get to 3-3, and then they go overtime, and Skinner makes 5 or 6 5-bell saves to keep them in the game. I mean, Florida had some glorious chances in the beginning of the period. And then Edmonton starts pushing, and they had 2 or 3 glorious choice breakaways, and each time Bobrovsky was there and a couple of really bad shots.
Yeah.
Frederick missed one that you got to put in the back of the net. So they got to be feeling like, man, what's going on? And then I forget who it was, but delay of game. Panthers shoot the puck out of their own end, and there's a delay of game, late power play in the first overtime, and McDavid sets up Draisaitl, and boom, it's over. Game 1 overtime win goes to Edmonton. And what really startled me, 46 shots on goal on the Panthers. 46 shots. The Panthers have been holding most teams, like the Lightning included, to like 12 shots a game. Less than 20 shots a game. They got 46 shots last night. So that tells me this Edmonton team has got something. They match up well with the Panthers. Now, we'll see what the Panthers come back with, but and they made them pay on the power play, which is something Lightning did not do.
Did you see this ridiculous streak that was broken for the Panthers? Before last night, over the past 3 playoffs, the Panthers were 31-0 when leading after the first or second intermission.
31-0?
31-0.
When leading? Wow.
Yeah.
And they had a 2-goal third period lead.
Yeah.
How about that? Maybe they're getting a little tired.
I like that trend.
Yeah, I do too. So, yeah, a lot of things were broken last night. So, if Edmonton can come through for Canada and for I didn't see the beginning of the game. They boo us? They boo our anthem last night?
No, I didn't.
I think Western Canada is a little bit more respectful than the people.
Yeah, Alberta's, they don't care about that.
Was that?
Crap.
Yes. Yeah, I think the western part of Canada.
Alberta
crazy
loves
people
America.
in Toronto and Montreal. You know.
Yeah, they want to be part of America in Alberta and Saskatchewan.
We'll take them.
Heck
You
yeah.
can have Ontario. You can have Toronto and those. You can have that group. We'll take. Yeah, we get Calgary and Edmonton.
Yeah,
beautiful. Vancouver.
We'll take British Columbia if they want to come.
Hell
too.
yes.
We're not
Come
going to call
on.
it British Columbia
Come
anymore.
on down.
That's
Yeah.
to change the name of their province.
All right. What else? We mentioned this at the end of the show yesterday, and the Kucherov won the Ted Lindsay Award. That's the MVP voted on by the players. And we showed the video of the surprise announcement that they did for Kucherov. I love the fact that, the back and forth with JBB in his office that they filmed. And he's like, yeah, we'll fly you out to California. And he's like, no, I'm good. No, just bring the trophy.
He had zero interest in that.
He's like,
mess.
going to LA now. I'm good. Bring it to Tampa. I'm really good. And then his whole team was there. But the list of players with 3 Art Rosses and 2, trying to get this and 2 Ted Lindsay Awards. Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, Connor McDavid, Guy Lafleur, Phil Esposito, and now Nikita Kucherov.
That's pretty good company.
Holy shizbang. Yeah.
That's almost the Mount Rushmore of hockey players right there.
A very large, crowded Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7th player to do that.
Wow.
And he's 30, going to be what, 31? He's still in his prime. So I asked the question, is he the most accomplished, decorated Tampa Bay athlete? He's won 2 MVPs now and 3 scoring titles.
He has to be, right?
Yeah,
How many Bucs won MVPs?
We've had some defensive players of the year, but no MVP.
No league MVP.
No league MVP. No Ray has ever won league MVP.
And Mike Evans runs under the radar so much that he's never decorated like he should be.
Right. So when you look about excellence league-wide and being at the top of your league.
And being
It's
recognized for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Kucherov. Stamkos never won an MVP. Marty St. Louis won a Ted Lindsay.
Yeah.
But now Kuch has 2. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, when you think about it, sneaking up on you.
You guys are watching greatness, and most of you don't even know it.
I know. It's crazy. And I tell people all the time, you're going to look back on this era of Lightning hockey like, holy crap. Because there's, in my mind, 5 Hall of Famers. All right. Hedman's a Hall of Famer. Stammer's a Hall of Famer. Kuch is a Hall of Famer. And Cooper's going to be a Hall of Famer. And Vasilevsky's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, what about Vazzy?
Yeah. So we're watching 5 Hall of Famers. That's
that Tampa Bay Lightning Ring of Honor is going to get a little crowded.
Yeah, real quick. And it's I think it's still in the window. The core is still there, so they just got to find a way to beat the Panthers. And the Panthers are going to take some hits in this offseason. They're going to lose some players.
Yeah, and you know what? Win or lose, I was thinking about that last night watching the game. Win or lose, the Panthers, their run might be done after this season. Just with all they're going to lose.
I just don't want them to get back to back. So
no, I don't either. Well, obviously,
come on, Edmonton. Come on.
Well, they started off the series right.
Let's get this done.
And you know what's funny is here in Dallas, there's a lot of people. I was at a bar last night watching part of the game, and I had my Edmonton Oilers hat on. And I saw some people that know me, and they're like, "What are you doing wearing an Oilers hat?" I was like, You gonna wear a Panthers hat?
It's
I
an
mean, who are you cheering
anti-Panthers
for?
hat. It's not an
They're
Oilers hat.
Yeah, they're like, well, we don't want either team to. I said, okay, but you watch a hockey game, it's the Stanley Cup Finals, and you're not going to cheer for one of the teams. You have no rooting interest whatsoever. And I said, I don't care if they beat the Stars. All right, they're a better team. Fine. If the Stars won it, I'd be wearing my Stars hat. I'm sure as hell not going to wear a Panthers hat.
Yes.
I said, well, man, Oilers are good.
Panthers hat with a
the circle on the line through it. Yeah,
the circle line through it, a rat.
But
rat.
I got lit up, man. I was like, screw y'all. I'm cheering for the Oilers.
Tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to all you commenters. Thanks to you, Timmy. Great job. Our thanks to Chris Lopvilla. That was a very interesting interview, telling us and confirming that the city has tried to reach a settlement with the Rays. And, of course, Stu said no thank you, because why not? I mean, it'd be great for the city, right? But, nah, we don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Here's $50 million. You could use it for a stadium in Tampa. No,
thanks.
I just try to take the cash because I'm going to sell the team anyway. I just want people to understand, like, if you ever uttered the words "he cares about Tampa Bay," shut up, because he don't.
Not true.
No, and because he could really be helping out right now and taking his money and going, but we're not even seeing that either. And just people should know that. Should understand that. All right, thanks to all of Chris Lopvilla, Scott Reynolds as well. We will see you tomorrow for a big finish. We preview FSU baseball taking on Oregon State out in Corvallis, and we'll have some Bucs talk for you and Rays talk as well. See you then. So, the Tampa Sports Club spiel that I did today, did something good. I want to cut that out and post that. I thought that was a good point of the show.